What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic Nick, and I have an album review for you, or rather an EP review. This is one I kind of want to do as a bonus because it kind of ties into some other cool things that are coming up, and this is a really good segue into it. So today I am going to go over the debut EP from Dress the Dead, Aether. Now this actually came out on the 27th of June, which is strange because music generally doesn't come out on a Tuesday anymore. It's always fucking Friday. But anyway, this came out on Blood Blast Records, which is a digital subsidiary of Nuclear Blast Records. Now this band formed around 2016 in San Francisco, I believe, in the Bay Area, and there was something about the name that was familiar, and I couldn't quite place it until I read this band's bio. At one point, this band featured one Peter Dolving, formerly of The Haunted, on vocals. This was a project that he was involved in after his split from The Haunted after Unseen, well, wasn't very good. And this was, I guess, intended to be the next thing that he was doing, but he ended up leaving this project around late 2017 or 2018. Now this project is helmed by one Craig LaCicero of Forbidden fame, and this is kind of interesting that this is coming out and now Forbidden has resurfaced with a new singer and everyone's fucking buzzing about him. They're, booking fucking festival dates and such, and I'm stoked to see him at MDF. Anyway, I digress. Back to this band. After Peter Dolving left, they picked up one Kayla Dixon, who is also in the band Witch Mountain, and then pretty much rounded out their lineup with other members, that spent time in Forbidden, they've spent time in vio-lence. There's even a member of Man-Made God, which was a really cool rock project that Craig LaCicero did back in like 2003. So with all these factors, I was really interested to check this out because I really liked Man-Made God. I love Forbidden. Vio-lence is awesome. And this had an interesting tie to The Haunted, which I'm still a fucking giant fanboy of that band. Now, in terms of describing this band's sound, I guess you could put it under the umbrella of alt metal. I mean, that definitely covers a lot of territory. I would say even covers Deftones here. And I think you'd be partially right, but there's a lot of other things at play here. You have elements of stoner metal, doom, sludge, little bits of thrash metal that pop in because, that's definitely one of Craig's pedigrees in terms of just, awesome riffing. But you also have atmospheric elements and kind of post-rock elements. And what's really cool about this EP is it is a solid blend of all these things. There aren't individual songs where they just embody one particular style, like doing the genre hopping and so on. It is homogenized into one really cool sound, and they managed to make 5 songs that stand apart from one another, which is also really cool. The opening track, Hollowed Head, kicks in with some really monstrous riffs, and you're kind of preparing yourself for something a little bit faster, maybe a little bit thrashy, and then it kind of just goes into this kind of sludge metal stomp. It's kind of Sabbathy, it's really gnarly, great groove, and then the vocals come in. Kayla Dixon has incredible vocals. She has a monstrous range, and she sings with such emotion and power. And it's not just clean vocals. There are harsh vocals on this track. Painless Injection actually has a really cool flip between harsh vocals and clean vocals on the chorus, which is kind of ballsy because generally you're kind of committing to one or the other on a chorus. This one goes back and forth, and it really works. Her vocals on here are absolutely incredible across the board. And with this incredible vocal range, that also gives the music a lot of avenues to pursue different styles. You have bone-crunching heavy riffs all over here. Again, Painless Injection just has monstrous riffs left and right, but it also has some flat-out cool, kind of atmospheric rock riffs too. The song opens up with isolated, almost kind of gospel R&B vocals, and it builds into this kind of fast-paced rocker, but the pace of the song is fast, the bass and the drums, and then the guitars are more laid back, they're more atmospheric, but they save all the aggression for the chorus, which just delivers some bone-crunching, kind of groovy, hardcore riffs, and Kayla shrieking her guts out and then putting a melodic tag on the end of the chorus line. And it's absolutely awesome. And that cool contrast is definitely shown a lot on here, just playing with having softer melodies with harsher vocals or vice versa. They do a lot of that on here. The second track, I Want to Know You, has a really cool, very anthemic, very powerful chorus with some heavy chugging behind it that's a little bit more in the vein of the thrashy pedigree that you would associate with Craig. But the big standout for me is Sinking in Aether. This song is amazingly constructed. Starting off very soft, very kind of haunting and creepy, and it has this awesome building dynamic where with each transition it gets a little bit heavier, a little bit more intense, and then finally breaking into these like kind of just double time stomping drums, like a little bit of like kind of classic groove metal in there with some really heavy riffs, and Kayla just singing her ass off. In fact, I think it has like one of the best choruses on the album. And even peppering in like some elements of like 90s alternative rock, grunge, whatever they want to call it, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, a little bit of Soundgarden in there. It definitely shows up in the guitar melodies, which again, kind of like Kayla, there's a lot to them. There's like a lot of elements sort of weaving in and out. And that makes for a really engaging listen because, I mean, on the surface, I'm sure you could say like, yeah, this is probably closer to like, you know, heavy rock or hard rock. But I would definitely say it's more metal aligned, especially with its more brutal moments. But this band is excellent at writing those great rock hooks and just, you know, clever melodies without falling into the trappings of having like very, you know, formulaic songwriting, because these songs take a lot of twists and turns. Even though, you know, like the longest song in here is maybe 5 minutes and 30 seconds, there's a lot of elements kind of coming in and coming out of songs. And that sort of like blend of accessibility but unpredictability reminds me a lot of Faith No More. And I am a diehard Faith No More fan, so pretty much anytime I compare a band to Faith No More, yeah, they're getting a little bit of love there. But that sort of Faith No More ethos in terms of like, you know, maybe shifting around the dynamics. Now, I'm not saying they go completely off the wall like Faith No More has done, you know, in their illustrious career. But the fact that these songs are willing to take some chances and kind of get outside of the box a little bit and employ like some different riff styles, some different vocal styles, and still find a way to deliver some great melodic hooks and even some flat out intense biting sections, I think is a testament to the songwriting on here. And it also helps that I think the production on here is pretty fucking outstanding. The drums are exceptionally punchy, the guitars have a great crunch to them, and Kayla's vocals being out front, that is exactly where you want them because she really just steals the show with this vocal performance. Now, there were a couple of things that I guess I can nitpick on here because, I don't know, like they kind of just stood out as like, all right, maybe we're doing a little bit too much. The last track, Tickets to the Brawl, while I like it, it has like a really cool lead in with the drums. There's even a cowbell, but it's kind of like a hardcore breakdown sort of rhythm. I dig it. It's got like a good hook to it, but I think they get a little too busy with the vocal layering. There just seems to be like too much in terms of like background vocals and the main vocal line and kind of doubling up the vocals. It's just a little too busy and it kind of gets cluttered. And Painless Injection, well, I dig that entire song. The end of it is kind of odd where everything kind of drops out after the last chorus, where it feels like the song is, you know, over right there and it capped off perfectly. But there's this kind of atmospheric post-rock end to it, and while I think it is well executed, it sounds really good, it just feels a little out of place, like an afterthought, like maybe the beginning to another track. It does kind of play off of Sinking in Aether a little bit in terms of how this one drops out from a very heavy spot and it has this atmospheric end, and then Aether starts in with more of a clean, kind of creepy melody. It's a little bit dissonant and it kind of builds back up. So there is an interesting flow to it, but it does feel like maybe the beginning of another song or like an additional idea. Like we had this cool riff, this cool melody, we wanted to employ it some way, and this is kind of where it fit. But outside of that, and me being kind of a picky shit when it comes down to things, I really enjoyed this. There was a lot of stuff on here that reminded me heavily of like, you know, Seven Dust, like especially like Lejean Witherspoon in terms of his great delivery. Like Kayla's got a little bit of that, or even Oceans of Slumber. I think Kayla could definitely draw some comparisons to Cammie Gilbert, who's an absolutely fantastic vocalist as well. All of it, I think, was really solid. So overall, I'm going to give this EP 3.5 stars. Bordering on a 4. Like, I think with more listens, it may even grow on me even more. Kayla definitely steals the show. I will fully admit that. Like, her vocal performance is absolutely fucking amazing on here. But the music itself is absolutely incredible just in terms of how, like, there's a lot of just straightforward, great rock hooks on here. But it's done with, like, a little bit more care, a little bit more, like, attention to detail, and willing to take some chances in terms of, like, blending some stuff that would be kind of outside of the box on like more straightforward kind of like radio metal stuff. Now, this isn't me saying that this is radio metal. This is not a dig at all. This is me saying that these guys know how to write catchy songs that are both engaging and hooky, but also creative as far as the writing. That can be somewhat of a rarity when bands try to be more accessible, but this band did it well, and they took some chances, and I think this EP is awesome. If you're a big fan of Oceans of Slumber, again, I would bring up Seven Dust, Faith No More. Like, there's a little bit of just straight up groove metal in here. There's a little bit of like 90s alternative. Check this out. This is an absolutely awesome EP. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below to thrallsmetal.com. While the site is still under construction, you can still check out our Patreon. That's also linked on our channel someplace. I should probably pay more attention to these things. But anyway, once the site is up, we will have our store up, and hopefully we will have some shirts coming for you soon. We're definitely going to do a video announcing them. I'm probably going to do a giveaway for at least one of them. And for the meantime, we do have a giveaway going on for when we eventually hit 15K subs. All you have to do is comment in the video linked down below that is also playing automatically on our channel. Once we hit the magic number, I will do a comment randomizer, and one of you will win a stack of 11 CDs. I think we have less than 25 subscribers to go before we hit that mark, so if you've not jumped on that, definitely do it. And of course, I have to thank you, because we wouldn't be here without you. You guys keep us going, you know, that and the, you know, metal releases out there. But I mean, you know, the frequent comments, running into you guys at shows, it's amazing doing this, and I gotta thank you at the end of these videos, because otherwise it's just awkward, weird silence and me staring at the camera, and no one wants that. So once again, thank you all so much, and we will catch you later.